Welcome back to New York Links. Once again, here's Jeanille Bonterre with this week's news updates.
Hey guys, I'm Jeanille Bonterre from One Caribbean Radio 97.9 HD2 in New York with your ZYNC TV New York Links headlines. And topping off our stories this week, an apologetic Buju Banton takes the witness stand. Jamaican Grammy-nominated reggae star Buju Banton, whose real name is Mark Myrie, finally had his day in court following his arrest last December at his home in Florida. Mr. Myrie declared his innocence to a 13-member panel of jurors and denied charges of drug trafficking, but admitted two things: that he was naive and that he was only talking crap when he was recorded telling government informant Alexander Johnson that he was a drug financier in search of new drug ventures. During his 2-hour-long testimony, Banton said he was ashamed of himself for the things he had said, but told the jurors that talking crap did not make him a dealer. In his final argument, Myrie's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, told the jurors that his client was innocent, saying that the Drug Enforcement Agency had been investigating the artiste for a year and can find no evidence against him. Marcus also painted U.S. government informant Alexander Johnson as a master manipulator and con man. Lead prosecutor Jim Preston countered Marcus's claims by telling the jurors that Myrie was neck-deep in the conspiracy to distribute cocaine, saying it was his fault why his co-defendants James Mack and Ian Thomas were arrested. Presiding Judge Jim Moody informed the jury that their decision had to be unanimous to stand and instructed them that in cases of entrapment, they had to find Myrie not guilty if he was not previously willing or if it was because a government agent enticed him. If convicted, Buju Banton could be sent to prison for life and fined several $1 million. And in other news, more charges are pending in the Alan Stanford fraud case. The Securities and Exchange Commission has revealed that it has recommended charges be laid against several former top executives in Alan Stanford's empire as investigations into his alleged US $8 billion fraud continues. The names have not been released. However, the SEC has collected and reviewed tens of thousands of documents, email communications of more than 150 former employees, interviewed and taken sworn statements of over 60 former employees and other witnesses, and interviewed approximately 200 victims of the Stanford fraud. In addition to Stanford, who faces 21 counts of fraud, the SEC previously named in its action SIB Chief Financial Officer James Davis, who pleaded guilty to charges included fraud last month, and Laura Pendergrass Holt, the Chief Investment Officer of Stanford Financial Group, who has denied allegations of fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Former head of Antigua and Barbuda's Financial Services Regulatory Commission, Leroy King, along with Stanford accountants Mark Kurt and Gilberto Lopez, also face charges. Caribbean is withdrawing Similac. The Caribbean companies have begun removing the infant formula Similac from their shelves following a recall by U.S. manufacturers Abbott Laboratories. The company says the product may be contaminated with insect parts. Beetles were found in the formula and in a Michigan plant where they are made. The voluntary action affects up to 5 million Similac brand powder formulas sold in the United States, Puerto Rico, Guam, and some Caribbean countries. The recall affects cans and plastic canisters of the product. And St. Martin has a new Prime Minister. Excuse me, that's Madam Prime Minister. Sarah Westcott Williams of the Democratic Party in St. Martin isn't just that country's first Prime Minister, she's the first ever Prime Minister in the Dutch territory. Her Democratic Party and the United People's Party have formally agreed on a coalition government that she will lead when the country's new governing structure under a new constitution takes effect in October. From that date, October 10th, that is, the island will become a separate country and will have its own parliament and prime minister when the Netherlands Antilles is dismantled. And coming up in the Big Green Apple, Grow NYC presents the New Green City Fair 2010. New Green City will be welcoming more than 100,000 visitors to New York City's largest annual green event in Union Square Park. Following the success of Green Brooklyn, which was Green City in September of 2009, this year's family-friendly event showcases government agencies, nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and community and corporate partners at the forefront of environmental leadership, education, and awareness. And of course, the Grow NYC's free day-long fair features rainwater harvesting, Kids Corner with Super Earth and the Green Man, one-day textile collection, interactive exhibits, multimedia art exhibit, and the Union Square Green Market. Come celebrate the best of what green New York City has to offer on Wednesday, September 29, 2010 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Union Square Park, South Plaza, Broadway to 4th Avenue, East 14th Street to East 17th Street. And for more info, visit grownyc.org. And you know, it's not easy being green, but somebody's got to do it. Speaking of green, well, the fairways of the Half Moon Resort in Montego Bay, Jamaica is the place to be as trend-setting Ocean Style magazine and multimedia sports giant ESPN brings celebrity golf to the Caribbean. Due to the tremendous reception of the first year, the event has been expanded from a one-day tournament to 2 days on Saturday, October 9th and Sunday, October 10th at the Half Moon Championship Golf Course. The format remains a four-person team playing in a better ball format. Along with various business people and golf aficionados, participants from 2009's inaugural event included a who's who of sports greats including Lennox Lewis, Andrew Cole, Courtney Walsh, Donovan Bailey, and Jeffrey Dujon. ESPN and Ocean Style expect an equally compelling lineup for 2010, with most of last year's stars expected to be joined on the tees by the likes of Dwight York, Les Ferdinand, and all 7 foot 2 inches of great NBA star Dikembe Mutombo. For more info on how to be a part of this power networking fashionable sports event, log on to www.oceanstylemagazine.com. I'm Jeanille Bonterre from One Caribbean Radio 97.9 HD2 in New York. Log on and listen live to OneCaribbeanRadio.com for your daily Caribbean American news. And don't forget, stay tuned to your headlines each and every week on ZYNC TV New York Link.
From the Caribbean to you, your news and information station, One Caribbean Radio.
ZYNC TV's New York Link